Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is waking up already tired, not physically, mentally. The alarm rings. They grab their phone, check the time, check notifications, check bills, check stress. And before their feet even touch the floor, their brain is already exhausted. Then the cycle begins again. Coffee, traffic, work, pressure, fake smiles, deadlines, stress. Repeat tomorrow. Repeat next week. Repeat next year. And the terrifying part, millions of people call this normal. But what if normal is the trap? What if the system was never designed to make people free, only comfortable enough to stay obedient? Because the truth is, salary doesn't always create freedom. Sometimes, salary creates dependence. Psychological dependence. A comfortable prison. A prison with Netflix. A prison with coffee breaks. A prison with monthly paychecks. And that's why people stay trapped. Because the cage doesn't look dangerous. It looks safe. It looks responsible. It looks normal. And normal slowly kills ambition. Slowly kills imagination. Slowly kills risk-taking. Until one day, someone wakes up at 45 years old, wondering where life went. That's what this video is really about. Not money, not jobs, not business. This video is about psychological control. Because modern life is not only fighting for your money anymore, it's fighting for your attention, your emotions, your habits, your identity. And most people don't even realize it's happening. But by the end of this video, you may never look at life the same way again. Part 1. The moment people stop dreaming when children are young. They dream big. Freedom, adventure, creation, purpose. But slowly, society replaces dreams with fear. Study hard. Get safe grades. Get a safe job. Live carefully. Don't fail. Don't risk. Don't stand out. And over time, people stop asking, what kind of life do I want? Instead, they ask, what feels safe? That psychological shift changes everything. Because once fear becomes stronger than imagination, people stop chasing freedom. They start chasing comfort. And comfort is dangerous, because comfort doesn't destroy people instantly. It destroys them quietly, slowly, year by year. That's why millions of intelligent people stay trapped in lives they secretly hate. Not because they are weak, because survival pressure changes human psychology. Bills change people. Stress changes people. Fear changes people. When someone spends years worrying about survival, their brain stops focusing on possibility. It focuses only on security. And security becomes addictive. That's why people stay inside jobs that drain them emotionally. Not because they love the job, because uncertainty feels terrifying. The human brain prefers familiar pain over unknown possibility. Even miserable people often resist change. That's how powerful psychological comfort becomes. Part 2. The attention war. The richest companies in the world are fighting for one thing: your attention. Because attention controls behavior, and behavior controls money. Think carefully about modern life. The moment people wake up, the attack begins. Notifications, messages, ads, emails, short videos, news, algorithms, noise, constant noise. Human brains were never designed for this level of stimulation. That's why so many people secretly feel anxious all the time. Their nervous system never rests. Their brain never becomes silent. And silence became dangerous in modern society. Because silence creates awareness. When people sit quietly long enough, they start noticing uncomfortable truths. How much time they waste. How distracted they became. How unhappy they feel. How many dreams they abandoned. That's why distraction became addictive. Because distraction helps people escape reality temporarily. But temporary escape creates permanent weakness. The more distracted the brain becomes, the weaker focus becomes. weak focus creates weak decisions. Weak decisions create weak habits. Weak habits create weak lives. This is why attention became the most valuable resource on Earth. More valuable than oil. More valuable than money. Because whoever controls attention controls people. One of the saddest things about modern life is that many hardworking people secretly feel emotionally empty. Not lazy people. Hardworking people. People who wake up early. People who sacrifice sleep. People who keep going despite exhaustion. Yet somehow, they still feel behind. Why? Because effort without meaning creates emotional burnout. Most people are not physically tired. They are mentally overloaded. Pressure from work. Pressure from society. Pressure from comparison. Pressure from expectations. Pressure from money. And eventually, life becomes mechanical. Wake up. Work. Come home exhausted. Sleep. Repeat. Then repeat again tomorrow. That's why so many people secretly feel numb. Not because they are broken, because they disconnected from purpose. Modern society teaches survival, but not fulfillment. And there's a massive difference between surviving and living. Survival keeps you alive. Purpose makes life feel meaningful. Without purpose, money never feels enough. Nothing feels enough. That's why some wealthy people are miserable. Because external success cannot fix internal emptiness. Every day, millions of people compare their real life to someone else's highlight reel. Luxury cars, perfect vacations, expensive watches, perfect bodies, perfect success. And comparison quietly destroys peace. Because comparison trains the brain to feel inadequate, even when life is already good. Social media changed human psychology completely. People stopped asking, "What makes me happy?" and started asking, "What makes me look successful?" That's dangerous, because appearance became more important than reality. That's why many people spend money emotionally, not logically, to impress strangers, to feel important, to temporarily escape insecurity. Luxury brands understand this perfectly. They don't sell products. They sell identity, status, recognition, power. Because human beings deeply crave social approval, and companies make billions from that emotional weakness. Modern society runs on dopamine, fast pleasure, fast entertainment, fast stimulation. That's why short videos became addictive. That's why people constantly refresh apps. That's why focus became rare. Human brains adapted to non-stop stimulation. But real success is slow. Real wealth is slow. Real growth is slow. And modern culture trained people to hate slow progress. If results don't appear quickly, people quit. That's why discipline became rare. And rare behavior creates extraordinary outcomes. Nobody claps for consistency. Nobody celebrates boring habits. But boring habits quietly change lives. Saving money consistently, learning consistently, building skills consistently, controlling emotions consistently. These things look small daily, but over years, they become life-changing. The scary part? Most people underestimate consistency because it feels boring. But boring actions create powerful futures, and emotional impulsiveness destroys them. That's why self-control became a superpower. Not talent, not intelligence. Self-control, the ability to control impulses, control attention, control emotions, control behavior. Because people who cannot control themselves eventually become controlled by everything around them. Comfort feels safe, but too much comfort slowly weakens ambition. That's why many people stay inside situations they secretly hate. Jobs they hate. Habits they hate. Lives they hate. Because uncertainty scares the human brain. The brain prefers predictable pain over uncertain possibility. Even unhappy people resist change. That's a deep psychological truth. But every year spent avoiding growth has a hidden cost. Lost confidence, lost opportunities, lost time, lost potential, and eventually, regret. Regret becomes heavy with age, especially when people realize they spent years surviving instead of truly living. And time never returns. That's why courage matters. Not loud confidence. Real courage. The courage to change habits. The courage to say no to distraction. The courage to think differently. The courage to build discipline quietly. Because freedom requires responsibility. And responsibility feels uncomfortable at first. But discomfort creates growth. Modern culture teaches people to flex externally. Cars, jewelry, luxury, attention. But real wealth is invisible. Real wealth is peace. Real wealth is freedom. Freedom to say no. Freedom to sleep peacefully. Freedom from constant financial fear. Freedom to spend time with loved ones. That's real success. Not fake online lifestyles. Not rented status. Not validation from strangers. Because attention is dangerous. Once people become addicted to approval, they lose themselves. They stop asking, what actually makes me happy? And start asking, what makes me look successful? That psychological shift destroys authenticity. And eventually, pretending becomes exhausting. That's why so many people secretly feel empty despite appearing successful. Because external achievement cannot heal internal chaos. Only purpose can do that. Only emotional control can do that. Only self-awareness can do that.
One day, you will realize something powerful. Nobody is coming to save you. Not society. Not motivation videos. Not the system. Your future changes when your habits change. Small discipline. Small focus. Small improvements repeated daily. That's how powerful lives are built. Quietly. Slowly. Repeatedly. The people who control their attention eventually control their future. And the people who chase distraction forever often stay trapped forever. Because where attention goes, life follows. If attention goes toward distraction, life becomes scattered. If attention goes toward growth, life transforms. That's the real game. Not becoming famous. Not pretending to be rich. But building a strong mind. A focused mind. A peaceful mind. Because people who control their mind eventually control their destiny. Choose carefully.